Hello, very good morning to all of you. Dear friends, welcome back in the video lecture series. So, we are discussing here the chemistry of main group elements, and we have started the fourth group, the fourth chapter, that is carbon group elements. Okay, and in that, in yesterday's lecture, we have seen the allotropes, definition of allotrope, then different allotropes of carbon. Okay, all these things we have discussed in the last lecture. Okay, today our topic is carbon nanotube. Okay, so what are carbon nanotubes? Actually, these carbon nanotubes are also considered as one of the allotrope of carbon, along with graphite, diamond, graphene and fullerene. Nowadays, these carbon nanotubes are also considered as one of the allotrope of carbon. Okay, these were discovered in the early 1990s. Okay, in the decade of 1990s by electron microscopy. These nanotubes were observed in the carbon soot of graphite electrodes during an electric arc discharge, okay, by using a current of 100 amperes. The bonding, local coordination and general structure of carbon nanotubes are similar to those of Buckminster fullerene. Okay, so what is Buckminster fullerene? That is buckyball C60 molecule of the carbon allotrope. But the carbon nanotubes can have a greatly extended length. So the length is greatly extended, very large in length of these carbon nanotubes, and this leads to a tube rather than to form a ball structure. So rather than to form a circular structure like a buckyball, these carbon nanotubes are having a extended length, and that's why due to this extended length they are looking like a tubing like structure. Okay, a tube like structure appears, and that's why they are called as carbon nanotubes. Actually, these are nanoparticles, or we call it as one of the nanomaterial, okay, made up of only and only carbon element. Okay, so as no other element is present in these nanotubes or nanomaterials, these nanotubes are considered to be a allotrope of carbon. Okay, so this is the reason why we can call these carbon nanotubes as the allotrope of carbon. These are cylindrical shells in shape, and conceptually by rolling graphene. So graphene, we know that now graphene is one of the allotrope. Okay, and it has a two-dimensional array or two-dimensional sheet of carbon. Okay, a net, two-dimensional hexagonal rings are arranged in a sheet or net. Okay, so graphene like, so it is graphite like, so that's why it is called graphene. And by rolling this single layer of or mono layer of this graphene, these carbon nanotubes can be formed. Okay, and these are closed tubular nanostructures with diameters matching that of carbon 60. The diameter is matching to that of carbon 60, that is Buckminster fullerene or fullerene C60 molecule. Okay, and it is about 0.5 nanometer, but the length of these nanotubes is varying up to micrometers. So this is the difference between nanometer and micrometer. So though the particle size or the diameter of these carbon nanotubes is varying, is in the range of nanometer, that is 0.5 nanometer, but the length of these carbon nanotubes is in the range of micrometer. So nanometers are 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Okay, and micrometers is in the range of 10 raised to minus 6 meter. Okay, so this is the reason, and micrometer are having larger size than the nanometer. Mind well. Okay, the carbon nanotubes is theoretically distinct as a cylindrical fabricated of rolled up graphene sheet. Okay, we have discussed here, and it can divide into single well and multiple wells. So on the basis of these layers, or walls, we can say, these carbon nanotubes are divided into two types, that is single walled carbon nanotubes SWCNTs and more than one walls if it is present, then they are called as multi-wall carbon nanotubes. They are abbreviated as MWCNT, multi-walled carbon nanotubes. Okay. Then some speciality of these carbon nanotubes that we are going to see here. These carbon nanotubes is 100 times stronger than stainless steel. Now we know that in construction of buildings and any construction, we are going to use here the stainless steel, because the stainless steel is one of the hardest material or strongest material to bear the load. Okay, and that's why the carbon stainless steel is used. Okay, but these carbon nanotubes are very superior than this stainless steel because it is 100 times stronger. It is 100 times stronger than the stainless steel, and it is 6 times lighter in weight than the stainless steel. Okay, so this is the very superior quality, superior properties of these carbon nanotubes. Okay, that's why most of the researchers right now are interesting in the these carbon nanotubes and nanomaterials. It is hard as diamond, and its thermal capacity is twice that of pure diamond. Okay, so it is a good conductor of heat, means thermal capacity is twice to that of the pure diamond. The current carrying capacity means it is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So the current carrying capacity of this CNTs is 1000 times higher than that of copper. We know that aluminum and copper, these are the two elements that we can use for the conduction of electricity. Okay, but out of these aluminum and copper is the best electrical conductor. But these carbon nanotubes are very superior than this copper because they are 1000 times having higher current carrying capacity than this copper. Okay, these CNTs are thermally stable up to 4000 Kelvin. So it is a very high temperature, 4000 Kelvin. It is a very high temperature. So they are stable up to this very high temperature. So the applicability of these carbon nanotubes is widely extended due to this high temperature. Then these can be metallic or semiconducting depending on the diameter and chirality. Okay. Now these here the structures of single walled and multi walled carbon nanotubes are shown here. Okay. See here, this is the first one, that is single walled carbon nanotubes. Only a single layer is shown in this figure. Okay, and the diameter is shown here 0.5 to 1.5 nanometer. Okay, so though it is looking like a very large shape, okay, it is magnified, but when we measure the dimensions of these single walled carbon nanotubes, it is only 0.5 to 1.5 nanometer. Okay, you can think about 1 nanometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Okay, so it's a very small in size. Okay, it cannot be visible with our naked eyes. Okay, it requires electron microscopy for the visualization. Then this is the multi-walled single carbon nanotubes. Okay, the range is less than 100 nanometer. Range of diameters is less than 100 nanometer. Okay, and you can see here there are 3 layers can be seen. Okay, you can see the 3 layers, first outer, then middle, and this central. Okay, 3 layers are there, or we can see the we can say that this is a multi-walled carbon nanotube. Then synthesis of carbon nanotubes is considered here. Commonly there are 3 methods or techniques have been utilized all over the world. Okay, first one is arc discharge technique, second one is laser ablation technique, and third one is chemical vapor deposition, that is CVD technique. Okay, let us see the arc discharge technique. So this technique uses higher temperature above 1700 degrees Celsius for the carbon nanotube synthesis, and which typically causes the expansion of CNTs with fewer structural defects in comparison with other methods. The most utilized methods use an arc discharge between high purity graphite. Okay, so high purity graphite electrodes are used, and in between these two graphite electrodes, electric arc discharge is occurred. Okay, usually water cooled electrodes with diameters between 6 and 12 millimeter are used, which are separated by 1 to 2 millimeter in chamber filled with helium. Helium is a inert gas, and this is used as a inert atmosphere. Okay, in a so the chamber contains a graphite cathode and the anode, as well as evaporated carbon molecules and some amount of metal catalyst particles such as cobalt, nickel and or iron is used. Okay, the remaining carbon, that is a hard gray shell, deposited on the periphery and condenses into chamber soot nearby the walls of chamber and cathode soot on the cathode. Okay, so after this process, this is the condition in that chamber. Okay, so what happens at cathode and what happens at the anode. Then the inner core, that is cathode soot and chamber soot, which are dark and soft, yield higher single walled and multi-walled carbon nanotubes and nested polyhedral graphene particles. Generally, synthesis of multi-walled carbon nanotubes could be done without use of catalyst precursors, but synthesis of single-walled carbon nanotubes utilizes different catalytic precursors. Okay, such as gadolinium, cobalt, nickel, iron, silver, platinum, palladium, etc., or mixtures of elements such as cobalt, platinum, cobalt, ruthenium can be used. What is the main advantage of this arc discharge method? It has the ability and potential for the production of large quantity of nanotubes. So mass production can be done by using this arc discharge method. Okay, but it has some disadvantage, that it is relatively little control. This method has relatively little control over the alignment, that is chirality of that carbon nanotubes. Okay, which is important for their characterization and role. Okay. In addition to that, catalyst is needed for the reaction. Purification of the obtained product is important and it is essential. Now the second method is there. It is called laser ablation method. Okay, so by using high power laser ablation, a quartz tube containing a block of pure graphite is heated inside a furnace at 1200 degrees Celsius in an argon atmosphere. The aim of using laser is vaporizing the graphite within the quartz. As described about the synthesis of single walled carbon nanotubes by using arc discharge method, for generating single walled carbon nanotubes using the laser technique, adding of metal particles as catalyst to the graphite targets is necessary. When the laser pulse power is increased, the diameter of the tubes becomes thinner. Okay, now the main advantage of this technique consists of relatively high yield and relatively low metallic impurities, since the metallic atoms involved have tendency to evaporate from the end of the tube once it is closed. Okay, but the disadvantage is that nanotubes obtained from this technique are not necessarily uniformly straight, but instead do contain some branching. So some branching is occurred in the synthesis of these carbon nanotubes by laser ablation method. This laser ablation method is economically not advantageous because the procedure uses high purity graphite rods. Okay, and it is very costly. Okay, so that's why this method is costly in nature. Then the very superior and widely used method is chemical vapor deposition, that is CVD. In this approach, a hydrocarbon gas means alkane gas, light alkanes such as methane is decomposed at elevated temperature and carbon atoms are condensed onto a cooled substrate that may contain various catalysts such as iron. This CVD method is attractive because it produces open-ended tubes. Okay, so both the ends of the carbon nanotubes are get opened, which are not produced in other methods. So that's why this method is widely accepted, and this allows continuous fabrication and can be easily scale up to large scale production. Because of the tubes are open, the method also allows for the use of the nanotube as a templating agent. This technique allows carbon nanotubes to expand on different of materials and involves the chemical breakdown of a hydrocarbon on a substrate. The main process of growing carbon nanotubes in this method, as same as arc discharge method, also is exciting carbon atoms that are in contact with metallic catalyst particles. Okay. Then some properties are there of these carbon nanotubes. They are high thermal conductivity, high electrical conductivity. Okay. Then it has very elastic, that is 18% elongation to failure. Okay. So up to 18% we can elongate that carbon nanotubes. Then it has very high tensile strength, highly flexible in nature, can be bent considerably without damage. Then they have low thermal expansion coefficient. Okay. And they have good electron field emitters. Okay. Then this is the difference between single walled and multi walled carbon nanotubes. Okay. Very simple difference is there, because in single walled we know that a single layer of graphene is there. In multi walled, multiple graphene layers are there. In single walled carbon nanotube synthesis, catalyst is required, and here we can produce it without catalyst. Okay. So the purity is poor, the purity is high. So this is the difference between single walled and multi walled carbon nanotubes. Okay. Then less accumulation in body, more accumulation in the body in multi walled. The characterization and evacuation is easy, and it has very complex structure. Then single walled, it can be easily twisted and more labic, and it cannot be easily twisted. Okay, so this is the main difference between single walled and multi walled. Then applications are there. Some applications: carbon nanotube membranes for transdermal drug delivery. So in biomedical fields, it has large amount of applications. Okay, high different applications can be used. Okay, for this carbon nanotubes in biomedical field. Then these are used for cancer treatment, then cardiac autonomic regulation, then for platelet activation, then for tissue regeneration, and carbon nanotubes in drug delivery. Okay, so this is the recent trend in or in future trends in of the research regarding carbon nanotubes. Okay, so this is all about the topic, that is carbon nanotubes. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day.